So I guess on the channel we talk a lot about kind of different pieces of gear that are different to what I normally use, but today I wanted to do a video about the things that I always use. If you like the sound of that opening track thing, I was actually heavily channeling or ripping off Emma Ravitch's tune Omen, and I'll put a link in YouTube somewhere, but give that a listen if you dug the sound of that. I saw Aunt Law playing with Emma in Appledore earlier in the week, and I was really blown away by that tune. So I was thinking, how does that work? So I started to kind of break it apart and figure it out a little bit and tried to kind of do something with those kind of changes and that time signature. K-Line guitars are my favourite guitars in the world, and that's just nearly fallen off. My journey with K-Line started with this guitar. At the time I was looking for a Fender custom shop, and I was looking around on forums and stuff, and this thing caught my eye, and it was on a forum nearby to me, towards Barnstaple actually, and the guy was selling it for £850 or something like that, or 900. 2017, 2018 I guess. I think I sent him an offer of 850. It was hanging around on the forum a bit longer. He didn't accept initially, and then he sent me a message like, yeah, you can have it for that if you want, and so I grabbed it. This one has a lot of dirty blondes in it, and it's my favourite guitar in the world, so it's quite lucky that I decided to take the risk. At the time I didn't really know too much about K-Line, I just read what I saw on forums and people seemed to like them, which I guess is a good sign, but I think what I like about this guitar aside from the noisy volume knob, which has been replaced, but there's something that I do with volume knobs which apparently breaks them. It just feels right to me. So the thing with each of my K-Line guitars, I'll show you them all in this video, they all have a 10-inch radius, which is a little bit kind of bigger than the usual kind of Fender thing. So normal Fenders, I think at a custom shop, would come with a 9.5-inch radius. This comes with a 10, Obviously as well there's some Fender Custom Shop stuff which would have like the super vintage, like the 7.25. Rosewood fretboard, obviously. It's got a, you know, aside from the obvious, it's kind of like a typical Strat thing, right? This is the medium C, I think it's 0.85 inches thickness. Just a beautiful guitar, and he uses Wilkinson hardware, same sort of stuff that you find on Sirs and bits and pieces like that. Yeah, I just really dig it as a guitar. There's nothing complicated about a Strat, is there? I think the one difference he's made is that he angles the neck pocket so that you wouldn't have to shim it. Typically a lot of Strats would come with a shimmed neck, you know, where you make an alteration in the neck pocket and get a neck angle which works better for lower action and playability and things. Out of the box he's decided to just angle that neck pocket to something more ideal, and whatever he's done it seems to work. So this was the first one that I played, and it sort of did cure me of the Fender Custom Shop thing a bit because it was such a good price and because it didn't lack anything that I'd want from a guitar, and that still remains true to this day. You know, I've played a Fender 64, like an actual 64 Fender Custom Shop, cheers Phil, and I don't think I'd swap it for this guitar, to be honest. This is the one for me. So yeah, that's the story of this one. It's aging fairly nicely as well. You know, it's starting to, it's got quite a thin finish clearly, and that's starting to reveal the undercoat. It also checked over my time with it. I don't think it was as checked as it is now, but you know, it just seems to be aging quite nicely. I try not to clean it too much just because I like the idea that I'm actually playing it. So I play this guitar pretty much every day. At some point the frets are going to need dressing. I'm going to see how quickly I can get that done because I don't really want it to be out of my sight for too long. But that is, if anyone asks me, you know, what would be your #1 guitar, it's the K-Line Ice Blue with Lola Blondes. They're the black pole version, so non-staggered pole pieces, 6125 fret wire, 10-inch radius, 0.85 inch neck, and it's, I think, the best Stratocaster I've ever played. The next one that came along was this yellow one, which David Beebe is borrowing at the moment. So that is roughly the same spec as this. The main difference is that it's got Klein pickups in it instead. So Chris used to use Lolas and Kleins. The next part of what happened, I can't exactly remember how it went, but I think it's either the gold one or this green one that I bought next. And now, these were bought, I think, last year, and these I had to pay considerably more for because people seem to have a bit more of an idea about what a K-Line guitar is actually like now. Let me know in the comments if you found out about K-Line from me. As I say, these are my favourite guitars in the world. I think you can probably tell from the way that I play them all the time. This one is the British Racing Green. The main difference about this one is that it's got his 64 pickups in it. British Racist Green, I call it. It's got a slight flame on the neck, very slight, but it's kind of there. It's a little bit more aged than the blue one. Same hardware and everything. Yeah, as I say, the only difference is the K-Line 64s, and it does feel kind of familiar to play. I have this one set up in E flat for whatever reason. This one's got the same kind of 0.85 inch with the C, so it should feel very similar. the idea of buying a couple of them was so that I don't necessarily have to wear out the ice blue quite as quickly, but I still end up playing the ice blue one all the time, so it's not really worked hugely well. But yeah, that's the green one. It doesn't look super green in most lighting. It kind of looks like black with a little tiny kind of hint of green, but in certain light you can see the little green sparkles coming out. But I think a really beautiful guitar, and I think the way that the neck looks I prefer on this one to the other guitars. Aside from that, it's like the same guitar, isn't it? It's a Strat type thing. But yeah, that's that one. So this one has 64 K-line pickups in it. This gold one has actually 59s in it. Aside from that, it's the same, except for this one actually has an SSV neck, as in it's got a slight V to it. It's not pronounced, but it is definitely, you can feel that it's got this V shape. And the other thing, it's got this kind of roasted maple, which I think looks really, really pretty. And obviously, again, quite a lot heavier aged than the blue one. It is kind of a bit different feeling, and I think there's plenty of vintage guitars in the 50s that would have come with a bit of a soft V or even a quite pronounced V, but this guitar has a bit of a different vibe. I can pick this one up when I want something a bit different feeling because of that roasted feeling neck, and yeah, it's also got a super nice kind of heavy relic, and Shoreline gold when relicked I think is possibly one of my favourite colours. I just think it looks really cool, and set against that roasted neck I think it looks brilliant. 10-inch radius, 0.85-inch neck depth, and 6125 fret wire, kind of all a bit similar. Now actually this is the first guitar that Chris made for me, as in I asked him to build this thing. So I was asking for an offset guitar. At the time I was playing a Squire J Mascis, and I thought I'd like something a bit more playable and all this stuff. That it was a great guitar, but I thought this could be better. I saw that you make San Bernardinos. Is there any way you can make me one of these? So it's a Tune-matic bridge, Firebird humbucker in the neck, mini humbucker in the bridge, unpotted so they can be noisy and stuff, and you can shout into them if you want to, but this guitar is a little bit of a different vibe, and I can pick this up when I want something a bit more jangly. Something a bit hotter than my Strats. You know, this has got humbuckers in it of a kind, and same neck shape, so medium C, 10-inch radius, 6125 fret wire, and 0.85-inch neck depth. But it does feel a bit different because the body's slimmer than a Strat or a Tele, and you've got a Tune-matic bridge. So that's the San Bernardino, and ice blue again, obviously. Then we've also got this boy, the K-line Truxton, which took a spill off of a chair the other day, so Ruben kindly knocked this off and onto a piece of gear, which will go nameless as the Fractal FM9, and the foot switches have made some pretty dents in it. But this again is the same sort of neck, so medium C, 0.85-inch, 6125 fret wire, and 10-inch radius. But this is obviously a Tele style guitar. quite like this guitar because it feels like you can play it super dynamically and it kind of sings the whole way, however loud. And obviously you've got the other. That's kind of my favourite guitar builder in the world. The K-lines are obviously what you see me playing most of the time when I'm not reviewing other guitars or playing some of the other bits and pieces. These are where I feel most at home. Let me know in the comments if you've got your favourite kind of small guitar builders, you know, your kind of one-man operations or whatever, or smaller companies. Obviously these are heavily Fender inspired. I guess that's obvious to absolutely everyone, and you know, there's nothing wrong with a Fender custom shop guitar either. I've played some of those and those are fantastic. I've got a Fender Avery Tele, those are great guitars too. It's just that these are, I think, even better value for money, and especially if you can pick them up used, as I have a habit of doing, you can get some really great guitars, I think. So let me know your favourite builders. Let me know if you've had any experience with the K-line. Let me know if it was my channel that was responsible for you finding out about them. That'd be interesting to me. But yeah, K-line guitars, my favourite things in the world, I think. And this is the #1 out of all of them. But yeah, catch you in another video soon. Don't forget to check out Emma Ravitch's music if you dug that introduction. That was what I was channeling. Really talented saxophonist, and a great studio album with Ant Law on guitar, so you might dig it. Cheers!